try to right the ship here. He's been having a great tournament, but he's finally been caught, and gonna see if he can stay ahead. He and Jason Keller, I believe, are 2 games clear of the field. He'll be playing former world champion Craig Beevers from the UK, and we'll see if Craig can kind of try to hold Evan back even more.
Yeah, I know. And Jason Keller, who's now tied with Evan, is really on the rise. So, and I just had a little hug and chat with him, and he's just feeling really, really super. And we'll see what happens with Evan. But I talked to him yesterday. Actually, I've got some good information about him. I'll try to pull that up, and we'll talk about that as he plays the game today.
Yeah. Thanks for coming back, everyone, to watch some games from the 2018 National Scrabble Championship in Buffalo, New York. We're going to get started here.
Somebody's asking if they can suggest words, and as we said this morning, what we'd prefer that you do, if you do suggest words, it's only because you've thought of it in your head, not because you're using an electronic aid. We'd like to keep the conversation going and the excitement. If you give the answer away, it's not so much fun.
Yeah, and the final 3 games will be played tomorrow morning.
Yeah, and it's not a finals this time. It's not like 2 people duking it out for the best of 3 or 5. It's actually going to be whoever's at the top of the heap after these 31 games.
Yeah. It's a pretty close decision here between Pong and Dong. They both take all sorts of hooks, I think. Maybe, I don't know. We're switching back to Collins here, so we have to change our brains because all morning we had TWL, which is the North American dictionary. Now we switched to the Worldwide Dictionary, kind of following the excitement a bit here. So we may have to
use a little help ourselves.
Change our brains a little bit to remember what isn't good.
But anytime we tell you anything, be sure we're giving you what's good. Yeah. So Pong takes, besides the S, an A, an O, and a Y.
And what I had to think about there was PONGA is Collins only.
And we're playing Collins.
Yeah, so I had to remember that. Well. And okay, all right, brain kind of coming back together here as much as it ever does. So yeah, looks like Pongy and Chewy here would be a pretty reasonable play.
Chewy. It's just a fun word, Chewy. I don't know. It's fun.
It is actually very cool, as Jeremy points out in the chat, that Evan could play hockey. If you couldn't guess, he likes hockey. Unfortunately, maybe not the best play, but still fun.
And we'll give you updates on the TWL game, and that's between Nigel Richards and another past national champion, also a Canadian, Matthew Tunnicliffe. Matthew opened the game with Jive, G-Y-V-E-D, and with not the nicest rack, Nigel managed netbook, saving a V.
Looks like Chewy is going to unsurprisingly come down.
Oh, and he plays upside down. Did you notice, everybody? That's also, remember I was telling you this morning, evidence of somebody who's been around too long is that, or for a long time anyway, is that I don't use tracking sheets. And Evan comes from that history of playing in the family before the advent of turntable boards, and he just got very, very used to playing upside down, and now that's what he does, and it's just a different way of playing.
Yeah. I can do both. I typically turn the board, but it's kind of fun. It's like a little bit of a
extra challenge.
It's like a little different.
You know, need an extra challenge.
You know, why not? I don't know.
Actually, in fact, if you were to force him, if we had a new rule that you had to turn the board around, he would actually be at a disadvantage.
Yeah.
I guess Leonardo da Vinci would have done it that way too, with his mirror imaging.
Exactly.
Right?
Definition Bot appears to be on vacation. Maybe Definition Bot is at lunch.
Oh, and Nigel has picked a bingo, saving that V. He picks right into vaginae, plural of vagina, I guess.
Yep.
She said clinically. Good luck. Good. Okay, you know what? I'm going to ask you, Twitch, cut me a break on this one. Let's just bypass it, okay?
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate your quietness. So what do we have here? We've got, okay, odetists.
Well, less gently, I can tell you, as someone who at one point knew the dictionary, pretty much had it memorized. When I got to the GREs, I had to learn what everything meant. So, I suppose we have good vocabularies, but I think we just know a lot of random letter strings.
For people not sure what GREs are, the graduate record exams, which you have to take when you apply to grad school. Everybody takes in their field. Mine was in psychology, and yours was in?
Just regular GREs.
Just regular GREs?
Yeah, but it's for human-computer interaction. So
Okay.
basically, computer science plus psychology.
For me, every year that they do the psychology one, they specialize in one area of psychology, and of course, I took just about every one except one, and that was the one they that was the one they did. But anyway,
Naturally.
I still got into grad school.
Yeah.
So the only bingo on Craig's list board is distorts. So now he's going to have to think about whether he wants to. Here he's got two S's on a board that. Oh, he's got spongy. So that worked out actually quite well. So he definitely wants to keep that one hook. But now what do you do?
Yeah, it's kind of a weird situation because there's nothing that's really all that appetizing.
Well, he's looking at odd, I guess, off Chewy, the HE.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of relying on drawing a vowel. He's holding one of the S's too, yeah?
Craig has changed his
There it
body, since there's pictures of him looking quite different.
Yeah, Craig is totally changed himself. He's looks like he's doing really well.
Yeah.
So.
And I wonder if that's helped his
props to
game. I
him.
would love to ask him that.
Well, he won a world championship, so I don't know if that was
During or before
yeah,
or after?
I don't know. But certainly has nothing to prove in terms of his Scrabble skills.
But that's something that I've noticed among this generation of which you're a part of Scrabble players, and that is there's an attempt to introduce some exercise. There's basketball, there's running up and down the street. Conrad, you can't see Conrad, but he's punching his belly, which
Yeah, I guess
doesn't look too big to me.
we did have a solid ultimate frisbee game going. There's a number of competitive Scrabble players who also play competitive ultimate frisbee. So we were doing that for a while. It's kind of a switch to basketball these days.
That's a good one. It's because it's like stop and start, which is supposed to be really, really good for twitch muscles.
Oh, okay.
Oh, for twitch muscles!
Yeah,
Look what I said.
I've been flexing my twitch muscles all day. So he ends up going with dicots. Feels like a very, I don't know, we'd call it turnover sort of play.
I don't know.
I understand his
I
logic.
understand it too. You
I
could
don't
really
know,
get in trouble if you play odd to that E and H, and then you pick up two more consonants. You could really be in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind the play at all. I tend to kind of hold back the S. Some people might disagree with me. I think.
Well, now he's got tenors.
Prefer. Yeah, it worked out. I'd probably prefer.
Oh, an out snore.
Out snore.
Yeah.
I'd probably prefer to just play dicot, but what do I know? So. Evan's in sort of a interesting spot. He's got all sorts of strange letters.
I will say that in the other game, Nigel's doing his Nigel after playing Vagina. I can't believe I said the name again. He picked up to the available D unseeded. So now he's up 207 to 104. And we're waiting for Matthew to play with his equally stunning rack of CFFHIJPR. That's the way it goes, folks.
One thing I will say about Nigel while we're waiting for Evan here, I went up and talked to him after his last game and asked him about the play Denialist, which if you were with us a couple of hours ago, Nigel challenged off a word that was only valid in this international dictionary, which is, a fairly inhuman feat as far as Scrabble is concerned. Nigel said to me, well, I immediately thought it wasn't a word, but then I thought about it and I wasn't quite sure. Because I had reviewed all the 9-letter words a couple of weeks ago. I'm like, oh, so they were really fresh. And he's like, no, I had studied a bunch of other words, so they weren't quite as fresh. But eventually I was just pretty sure it wasn't good, so I challenged it. Okay, Nigel. I appreciate the candidacy. I mean, I believe that's true. So that's kind of Nigel for you.
Nice
But,
to have that kind of memory.
Yeah, but still won't be able to get him to come to an interview.
Did you try? Did you even bother?
No, I didn't even bother. I just asked all the questions people wanted to know.
Well, that's a smart thing to do then. Just
Yeah.
ask him the questions in between rounds and then just relay the information.
Yeah.
I did have a chance to talk with Evan yesterday, and I'll give you some information about him. His biggest Collins win was 2 years ago at the Niagara tournament that is about to take place after the end of this tournament. And last year he won Malta. Had to play David Webb twice. We've mentioned David Webb on not this broadcast, but certainly on one of my interviews with Chris Leip, who said that he decided to start wearing a tie to tournaments because he saw David Webb do that, and you know, he thought it just looked really nice, and maybe he'll win a few more games. He won that Malta tournament by 6 Cume points, if you can believe it. So he had a tie record with Dave Webb, and they played, and he won the tournament by 6 Cume points, and Dave had challenged a word and lost 5 points, and which is hard enough. And the word that he challenged, if you could believe it, from Dave from England was Brit, B-R-I-T.
Oops.
He must have thought it's only good B-R-I-T-T.
Well, Outsnore comes down pretty fast, unsurprisingly, after Doc. And lots of open tiles for Evan to draw a bingo into. He instead draws FG to go with that P.
I hate FP.
It's not a great combination.
It's not.
I love P's. P's are great.
They always seem to come with U, so you're always looking, where's the I for Pafui?
Yeah.
Just get rid of both. What do you like, you said? You like which letter?
Just the P by itself.
You like the P. You know, I've
It's-
noticed people are holding on to it, and I hate the P.
It's got good synergy with other letters.
I know. There's just something about it.
Well, you may need to make friends with it.
I might need to.
Yeah.
It might have to buy me lunch.
Yeah, see?
Let's see what else about Evan. He has mainly studied 7s and 8s. So his he says he's got 50,000 in his card box. He only started using it 3 years ago. Probably not as strong on the 4s and 5s, so maybe his opponents would like to know that. But he was happy to tell me, so I don't think it's a secret. And he was telling me that he was mentoring Matt Bernardino on how to be annotated, like letting the rack be seen at least once and all that. Because, you know, it's not, if you're not used to being annotated, you'll come up here and you'll put your hands over the rack and people do all sorts of nasty things. Now, I think we have those racks taped down.
I think so, yeah. Well, we should.
They haven't moved, so I think that we're doing a good job. But people will often put their hands in front of it, so which is not nice of us to do because it's difficult enough to be on table one. It's difficult enough to be watched, but then you have to be careful of what you do with your hands so that everybody can watch. And unfortunately, it's the nature of the beast. And when we sign to come to the tournament, we actually sign away our ability to complain about it. If you are coming to the tournament, you agree that you will be annotated on table one. If you make it to there and you will not, you know, anything we ask you to do, you're going to have to do it in terms of making the play watchable. Chewy dicots. Corn? Is a corn a dicot?
I forget.
I don't know. Botany was a one. Yeah. Seems to me corn has more than 2 seeds. But
Yeah. I do like that Craig is he sitting on Tatooine? That's how you spell the country from Star Wars, or the planet. I don't know if that's how you spell it, but that's what I see. Not a word, of course, but... Sam, why couldn't you make it? You have no excuse. You should be here. Everyone blame Sam.
which Sam is that?
Sam Rosen.
Rose-
S.
oh,
S.
yeah,
Rosen,
weren't you here?
1704. Blame Sam. It's not like he's doing a PhD or anything.
Another one.
Yeah.
God.
Scrabble players have this thing where they like decide to go do PhDs.
It's a neat thing to have.
Yeah.
When I graduated, I got like 4 letters after my name, plus the honors degree, because I did a thesis. And as soon as I get my licensing in, I get another 3 letters. And then I do a fellowship year, I get another 4 letters.
Wow. So can you say that all out for everyone?
It'll be HOM.
Say your name, too.
Well, I'm actually going to Robin Pollock, if you can believe it.
Oh, okay.
I've decided to drop the married name because my father never had boys, and I want if I make a name for myself in the profession, I'd like the name to continue somehow. And my husband's family already had a couple of doctors, so I figured it was our turn.
That's fair.
So it's a lot of names, it's a lot of letters, but they're very unbingo prone.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
So yeah, as someone who also has a hyphenated last name that I got from my parents,
How do you like that?
I hate it because my name doesn't fit. The max is usually like 14 or 15 letters, but with Bassett-Bouchard, it's 16 letters. Here I'm complaining about letters on a stream about Scrabble.
Yeah, your mom was the Bassett?
Bouchard.
Oh, she got to go last.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that was, my dad was like, there's some things in life that aren't worth fighting about. This is like, we're going to go ahead, like, I'm going to lose this battle. That's okay. And I was like, oh.
It sounds like you lost.
Yeah, like, Dad, you're not the one who lost. Dad, if you're watching, well, you already know how I feel. I wanted to be a junior, so as a result, I couldn't be a junior. But that's okay. Anyway, enough about my life.
As we can see, Evan has 2 blanks on his rack.
Yeah.
And we talked, again, the strategy is to maximize it. I think right now the best way to do that would be to do a double-double through the S, which probably should not be difficult, especially since one of the things about Collins is that the ing words, a vast majority of them take an S on them.
I think fraud was kind of an interesting play because it kept G and P. Didn't really look like a great play to me at all, but it worked out pretty well, as you can tell.
Yeah. Well, he picked INS blank blank.
Yeah, he picked INS blank blank. So that's, again, how you know you're having a good tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I felt that he was going to win based on how he was playing and picking.
Yeah.
And you know how you have to have people give you games, and that was happening to him too.
Yeah, although if we look ahead to Craig's rack, he's got some bingo potential here as well.
Retina with a V, you think?
Well, I see an open R for starters. But we'll see if for some reason Evan decides to block it.
Well, through that S, I see spousing, just really, really simple. I'm sure there are
assuming like passings or something is probably Collins. Maybe it's even TWL.
Plussing?
Passings is just TWL.
Plussing would be good.
PS.
Passings is good. Parsings is good. Pigsneys is good.
Ooh.
What's he going to be playing? Spasming.
No?
Nope. Whatever it is, it's going to be good because you got to be crazy not to. Spursing, I think. Well, I'm looking at what's possible, and I believe the only thing that's possible with that combination is spursing.
Yeah. Which is interesting because it
yeah, because he put the vowel next to the...
Well, I mean, I think what's even more interesting, and this kind of speaks to the way that Evan likes to play Scrabble, is if he played spursing, that takes a letter in front for us.
Aspursing, very nice.
So
maybe that's why he did it.
Evan does like nice wide open boards.
Oh, spousing.
It was spousing.
Oh,
okay. Well, spousing
I missed
also.
that one. There you go. Spousing.
What I said still holds true because spousing also has a front hook of espousing.
That's interesting.
So regardless of what it is, he's decided to really keep the board open.
And I think it's that and or he's starting to see he's 5 minutes behind Craig in time.
I imagine he's going to bingo. Craig is going to bingo fairly quickly here.
It's gonna almost certainly be OU, but it could be spursing.
It doesn't matter, I guess. Right?
We'll find out when they hook it. So he's got Veritrin. And anything else?
Well, looks like he's going to play.
I think that might be it. Such a nice rack, but not too many bingos.
Yeah. And for those of you who have been studying your 9-letter words, you'll know that Veritrin takes an E on the end in addition to an S, and that's why he's playing it for fewer points here, not wanting to give a big comeback play to Evan.
In other words, if he had stuck it at F14, where the A is right now, he would have stopped the word 1 short of the double word score. And you don't even need to have the S, of which 3 are already gone, so it might be worth trying, but because it takes an E, it's not worth trying. Evan has a mitt full of, when you have all these vowels and you have the Y, you're not in good shape. So he had one of each vowel plus the Y.
But fortunately, he noticed his play of Gaggy quite quickly and was able to save some time, score some points, keep tempo on the game, and keep a passable leave of remaining tiles, all things considered. So the recorders say there was, in fact, spursing and not spousing.
There you go.
That's the thing that Scrabble players do like to do, is if there's a less common word, they will designate the word as such or play that word in hopes of maybe getting a challenge. In this case, that could give him 5 more points.
In the other game, while Matthew is throwing into the bag JMPR, Nigel is following up unseeded with Cardigan 2 turns later, and is up 301 to 143. And I'm going to still go through the game. I've still got 5 turns to go through, but picked up Carding, nowhere to put it, and played through a Cardigan.
Well, cool. We already are going to see a Spursing here as the hook with Agave. That's a
very nice,
pretty cool play.
So it worked out really well that we chose this game to do, because this game is, the Nigel game is, I mean, he's up, 160 points. So
Yeah.
this is a far more interesting game. Oh, Semillon. Millions. Semillon. Okay. And Nigel's picked up the blank and played Remodify right after that. So right now it's 425 to 264 for Nigel, with 14 in the bag.
Yeah, it's probably about all that's left to know about that game.
Yeah.
This will be interesting. Evan will almost certainly find Boudeli, but the question is, will he find Rubified? Which I can personally say I would not have found.
Only if he blushes.
Yeah. Rubified is a fairly low probability Collins only bingo, so it's international dictionary.
Ooh, Bouderie is a bit dangerous, but not too bad.
Yeah, I mean, all things considered, with both
word.
blanks and 3 of the S's out, seems reasonably safe. Maybe if he's lucky, his opponent freaks out and tries to block it 1 turn or something.
Really, the only thing you're worried about in that turn is like SX play, right?
SUQ.
Or SUQ. Those are the 2 that you'd worry about. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's only 1 U left. There's only 1 Q left. Ha 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 ha. See, guys, I can be funny. Yeah, I mean, Evan is known in the community for like his awesome word knowledge, and I wouldn't expect him to miss a bingo here. I expect him to find Rubified as well. He could be thinking about whether or not it's a word or not. He definitely, I don't think, is going to miss Bouderie, but...
Well, there are lacunae. We talked yesterday about one of the games he had where he did not play a certain bingo, and he says he wasn't sure it was good, which is par for the course in Collins. It's, as I've said many times, I'm always shocked at even how the 1-point tile bingos are often missed by the top players, because they just have so many more words. Okay, I guess it doesn't matter that you put Sposy. Doesn't matter. Okay. So Evan's another person also I've kind of grown up with and seen him, from young guy and get married and move on with his life. And it's been really, really nice to watch everybody.
One thing that's interesting about Evan is the shifts he works at work. I think sometimes he works from the 2 a.m. to 10 a.m. shift.
He's a writer, right? He doesn't see the bingo.
And wow.
Or he doesn't know. He's not 100% sure it's good.
He could be passing up Bouderie. I guess that's a thing that could happen. I find it hard to believe he would miss that. Rubified, okay, sure. Bouderie's pretty high probability. So
I wouldn't, and to save the U, like, I don't, no.
Yeah, that's shocking to me.
I have we'll talk to him afterwards, and he'll say that he saw it, but he wasn't 100% sure.
Yeah, I think confidence can be a slight bit of a thing with him, because he knows so many words, but those words can kind of get jumbled up together. And
he said he knows about 50,000, so 25 TL the word list, and 25,000 Collins, and we figure there's about 80,000 sevens and eights.
Sure, that sounds reasonable.
So let's say there's 70,000, so he's 20,000 short.
And both of these fall well within the range of things he would know.
Absolutely. And you see what happened. Look, yeah, that's what happened. So not a disaster yet, but we'll see. Both of them are very E-heavy.
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing is the game's wide open right now in terms of who's going to win. Pretty much just on tempo. Craig's just kind of, about a turn behind.
He could easily play on top of die cots to undouble some of those E's, untriple the E's, and score enough to put him 14, 15 points ahead of Oh, more than that. Of Evan and B. You know, it's a rhythm thing now at this point.
Yeah.
Who's going to go out first, being ahead 20 points? That's going to be the winner.
Yeah, and I mean, if someone else can get a bingo down, a bonus down, you know, they're going to be in really good shape because there are a lot of bad tiles left. Lots of power tiles, so I think you're going to see the Z, the X, things like that are going to come into play here.
No, there's no reason for Craig not to do this. It scores a lot. There's still an S in the bag. And as far as he's concerned, there's 8 E's unseen.
8 E's unseen. Yeah, right, because they both have 3 E's.
They both have 3 E's, so he doesn't know that Evan
Right.
has 3 of them. So as far as he's concerned, the more E's he gets rid of, the better. Beteem is only Colin's word, and its anagram is Bemete, B-E-M-E-T-E, which is also only Colin's. So now Evan is facing his own mittful. Craig did indeed pick up another E, but he picked up a U-less Q. And I'm looking to see if there's anywhere. Yeah, he can play QIS to Dicots.
Yeah, I mean, Craig looks like his medium-term future here is looking not so bad, whereas Evans,
He's going to need a few turns to build up that rack to something usable.
yeah, he's having a bit of trouble with all those vowels, and I think you're going to see we would call a vowel dump here. Don't ask me what AUE means. It's a thing that means something.
It means an anagram of EAU.
Yeah, that's all it means to me either.
Awe. It's a word we wish we had.
Yeah, do I wish we had that word? Like, I don't even know what it
You know what I wish we had? I wish we had iwi.
Yeah, that'd be great.
IWI. God, please, dictionary committee, give us iwi, please. It's fine. No, you're on the wrong dictionary.
B-team shows up as a word for me.
You have an older one, yeah.
20,015. 20,015. Yep, that's the year we're in. 2015.
Okay, so Evan has Onurier, which means nothing on this board. There's really no place for 7s on this board. That's my TWL knowledge. Obviously the reorient and orienter through the T, but that's too high up. And through another R, of course, he would have Ornurier. And there are 2 bingos, one through a G and one through a C, which are Collins only, which I'll let you guys try to figure out. But all these 1-point tiles are really a problem because he just, the obvious is because he cannot score. And also, you're always going between, should I play them off and score as much as I can with these 1-pointers, or do I just fish them off a little bit and maximize my chance of bingoing, because there is that beautiful T and S with that rack. It's very synergic. That's one of the things I actually enjoy watching Nigel for and the other top players. Like, what would they do in this situation? What would I do? What kind of putsy little, playing off 2 tiles? When do you appropriately play off 2 tiles, and when do you not?
Yeah, and I mean, it can be so psychological, too, if you're close to a bingo or you've just tried to go for one and missed one a couple times. You just like, I just want to play off like 2 tiles and just really try to get that bingo, and
there you go.
You might like misevaluate the situation. It's so easy to do that. I do it myself all the time. Unfortunately for Evan,
he's got an I, but I'm looking at Gore and Veritrian to balance the rack.
yeah,
and score a little bit.
That's an interesting one. I mean, his tiles after that would work well with the O up at the top. Saves the I for a play in the top right. He could draw the Z. He's not going to, but unseen to him, he could draw the Z for something. He draw the X, XI, QI, all very reasonable opportunities.
Except unseen to him are 4 I's, so he knows that there's a good chance that Craig has an eye to go next to QI. And again, on a board such as this, where there aren't a lot of scoring opportunities, even 18, 22 points can make a difference. Nigel's record currently, I had that up. Let me see.
I think it's 19 and 6.
19 and 6, yeah.
Assuming he wins his current game. Or no, he's
no,
already
no,
19
that's
and
what
6.
he is. That's
So
what
he's
he
about
is.
to be 20 and 6.
Yeah, let me see what's going on here. Matthew, you know, to his credit, played millions, then got an S and X play, 6 for 46. So millions for 85, 6 for 46, picked up the blank and the S and played carouser for 74. So his last 3 turns have given him almost 250 points, and yet he's still 60 points behind Nigel. So, and Nigel has a nice balanced rack with a Z to score with. So, not looking good.
What is the strongest word that can be played in Scrabble? I don't know, probably strongest. Maybe like.
What is strong? You have to define what strongest
ripped?
means.
How about ripped?
Strongest word.
Yeah, strongest.
Bounty for paper towel.
Yeah.
There you go. Strongest word. The best word in Scrabble is the one that wins you the game. I don't care if the word is D-O. It's just, if it wins you the game, it's the best word ever.
Hello, Mini Mark. You are a British Scrabble player? Is that what I'm understanding? Thank you, Jeremy, for the Strongil reference. But what is a real word?
How are we doing on time? So Craig is at 12, and Evan has just lost 1 extra minute compared to the 5 minutes he was behind Craig earlier on. So not too bad. So he's really, I think that's exactly what he's doing. He's, you know, evaluating, is it worth playing long and maximizing what he can get from these 1-pointers, or play short, keep bingo prone tiles.
And Veritrine is a pretty cool play.
I like that. I like the gore play, yeah. There's no D's left. If somebody sticks an S on it, the worst they can do is have to have the W next to it in order to maximize. So now let's look at Craig's rack. What do you think? Because he might play quickly, and we want to.
Yeah, I mean, if nothing else, certainly has Z in the. How do you pronounce Z-E-E-Z? So it's like, I mean,
where does he have that? Oh yeah, just on the
bottom
bottom triple. Yeah,
probably not the best play, but Z-O-O.
That's 36 points.
Z-O-O though at the top, making the O and U, the bottom one, kind of starts closing down the board a bit. I know it's.
I don't know where you are, so.
At the
top
top right there.
Oh, just playing zoo, and yeah, that's
Yeah.
not. That's actually really good. 35 points.
Yeah, kind of
like
starts thinking about
Yeah, so he's
oh
decided to
God,
take the spot.
I do not like that play.
Yeah, he's going to
even
be in trouble.
vaguely.
22.
But
you know what? He could pick up NLL, or, you know, like, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, it's definitely like lost some win percentage
He would have Rolina
there, but
nowhere to put it.
But you know, he's getting low on time, so at some point he needs to just go ahead and pick something and save some time for the rest of the game.
L-N. Oh, am I prophetic? Oh my God, I am.
Wow.
And there's the Rolina. I've done this before, and I don't know how I do it. I did it once at the Canadian Nationals with Venturi. I just predicted that he would pick it out of the bag, and he did. It's just really odd. Okay, there's the zoo that you predicted. Well done.
But he doesn't have anything.
Yeah, pick some lottery ticket and pick them for me. You know, it's the one thing that I don't do is gamble or do lottery or anything, because I am the least lucky person in the world. Anything I've ever won in my life, I've had to work hard to win it.
Sound like a Scrabble player talking about luck.
Yeah. Woo! We never talk about luck.
Unfortunately, Rayano probably doesn't play anywhere here.
Oh, you pronounced it properly.
Yeah.
Because I once got in trouble with Susie Teekert because I said Jeef. And it's Hefe.
Yeah. Try to pronounce things right. You know.
I'm a Canadian. What do you want?
That's true. Taco.
Taco.
We like to give
we go
people
oot
crap
for
for saying.
tacos.
Yeah, we go oat for a taco.
Oot. Oot. Don't we all say oot?
The joke is oot, but in my experience, Canadians tend to say oat.
Oat.
We're going oat.
Oat. Yeah.
Oat. We're
Oat.
gonna
And what do you
we're gonna
say?
go oat. Out.
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 That's because you're American. You have to open
Yeah.
your mouth wider to say.
I have some Canadian in me.
Where? What part? Your shoulder? What?
Bouchard.
Oh, the Bouchard. Of
Yeah,
course.
the Bouchard. So I consider myself partially Canadian,
Who is that?
but no Canadian citizenship, sadly.
No Canadian citizenship. Well,
Nah.
I bet you've been wanting it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure my job would probably sponsor me if absolute needed be, but you know. So Evan's gonna be getting low on time again here. You know, something like enroll in the bottom right, really just kind of dig in for
I think that's beautiful.
for the X or the S.
I love enroll. I love it.
And he just needs fewer turns this game, not because he wants to rush to the end for the game's sake, but just he doesn't have that much time. So the fewer decisions he has to make at this point, you know, obviously the more time he's going to have. It's kind of a circular logic, but ostensibly that's what he's trying to accomplish right now. Jeremy wants you to pick some lottery ticket numbers for him.
Yeah, I told him that's why I said never asked me to do that.
Yeah.
I think if there were like no one else in the lottery, I would still not get picked.
Oh. Well, there are some prop bets on Scrabble.
Oh, this is a good. Oh, the J.
Oh wow, that's gonna be interesting.
That's shoot.
Wow.
He needed one of the I's or the O's, but okay, we'll see.
He needed something easier with that little time left.
Well, maybe in Collins there's something crazy. How much time does he have? 2:45.
Yeah.
All right, and how are we doing? Well, so now Craig is in a bit of trouble there. Oh, but he's leading. Okay.
Well, I don't
the
think
score's
enroll
not
has
up yet.
been
Okay.
updated yet.
And
So
we're
he's
totally
still winning. He's still winning by a bit.
we're not getting anything on our Quackle game, so we've lost Quackle.
So
If
it's a
anybody hears any
13-point
ducks.
game.
All right. Well, that could be a really, really good thing for Evan if there were places to put all of these high
Yeah,
scoring.
I mean he's
got OX
He
and
can
XI.
drop the X for like 34
Four.
and waste absolutely no time if that's what he decides.
I think he'll need to do that.
to go for.
And if Craig was smart, which I believe he is, he will be aware. How many dollars are left in the bag? It's hard to tell. We have to count.
A few.
There's still a few, so maybe not ready to start panicking about that X, but I think you might have to start thinking about that X. And maybe play a word off NE, like starting with O, or just to block it.
I mean, Outler or something would actually work out pretty well for him right now. But
Outler?
yeah, he doesn't
Ooh,
know that,
You know a fancy
or
word.
he doesn't know that it would work out well.
Well, I wouldn't want to stick an R on the triple row right now, personally.
Yeah, it's unknown to him. It would actually maybe work out pretty well.
There's also in the JEE possibility over enroll in Evan's future.
Yes, I think that's the question: is do you go for something? Do you take JEE first? Do you look at playing off like the F and the C, making face and B team, trying to set up another big X spot, another big J spot, kind of put the pressure on his opponent, because there aren't too many big tiles left unseen to Evan. He knows that the only big tiles remaining are the V and the W. So he can kind of feel a bit safer about setting up large plays.
Mm-hmm. And with the V and W unseen and another U, Craig should be anxious to get rid of that U. Personally, I would be. On a very tight board, having a V, W, U, U would not be a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Hefe, in fact, does look like a solid play here. It sets up Max. Thank you, Sidewinder. Setting up Max for the next turn.
That looks great for me. That's not his turn.
Could even draw the last O, like coax for like $1 billion. But he'll be saving Ox the next turn. You know, that could be what he needs, honestly, to win the game, which, considering after, what play would it have been? RIN, his win percentage was probably down to 1 in 8, maybe. He was not in good shape. Now I think he's back to at least 50%.
In our other game,
Oh, Matt made a good
Matt
effort.
made a great comeback. He got all those bingos. He got a J play. He got, for some reason, he played zanily instead of maze to the triple. I don't know what that thinking was, but he did that. And the final score is 499 to 416 for Monsieur Nigel Richards.
Oh, so he is actually French.
He is. It's
Oh,
a little
okay.
known secret that I think I've just let out of the bag.
He's from Christchurch, France.
Did you see that great picture that, I don't know who put it up, and he said Evan is playing Nigel, and there was a picture, oh no, Jason Keller playing Nigel, and there was a picture of an orange and a kiwi. It was so cute. Oh, rollout. Ooh. Roll out the barrel. So taking a page from Evan's playbook, who just played Enroll, he plays Rollout, both with the same thinking of 1 point tiles, not going to do anything on this board. Let's see if I can pick up something that will score me a few points.
I love how people keep thinking that you're flirting with me.
I don't.
I think.
I promise you I'm not. I'm just,
yeah.
I like to have fun.
I think perhaps people who know me in Scrabble know that it's kind of ironic. All things.
Not going to happen.
All things considered, you know, never know. But let's see. So
my kids are watching. I'm going to just stop right there.
oh wow, he quickly puts down Ox, which is.
It's what we predicted, absolutely.
Well, no, we thought he was going to play Hefe, setting up Max.
Oh. So I guess he didn't see that.
So,
he picks the V. That was a very, very bad
yeah,
pick. That might cost him the game right there.
Yeah, I mean Hefe almost certainly. I mean, he's still got some big tiles to
He's in
deal
trouble.
with, but
right here in River City, he's in trouble. He doesn't have the vowels. He doesn't have the last S.
but he does have a lead.
Eventually, we'll find out.
Oh, you know, I mean, he got 34, so he's
Okay.
got 331.
Okay. So he does have the lead. Okay, now it's a lot better.
So, Let's see. I wish I could count better so I knew how many talents were left in the bag, but math is hard, English is hard.
There should be
God,
9, I
hard.
believe, because I counted 16.
Yeah, so probably
17, so 10 in the bag.
3 in the bag.
Oh, they count. Oh, it's for both of them. That's this whole time I didn't know this.
Oh,
This is
yeah,
everybody's
yeah.
tiles. Okay.
So
3 left in the bag.
Yes, there's 2 L's and something.
A. Nope. Not
Nope.
an A, not a C.
2 L's and an R in the bag.
Okay.
It's kind of like the last game.
Wow, so he can easily have a satire rack just by getting rid of WI.
Thank you, Buddha. I'm glad you picked up on that line. Like to keep people on their toes.
I am just so out of the loop.
I said something stupid earlier.
Okay. It would be nice if the remaining tiles graphic did not include what's on their racks already. What do we think about that, Mr. Producer Man? Is that ever possible?
I may have woken up someone's kid. Well, you know. I guess that's why they.
It can be possible one day, child. Just dream.
Yeah.
Just if someone could direct you to a web tool that offers two rack tracking. We would just expect a man of your capabilities of doing it yourself. So. I just don't want him. He could, but he's busy flying. He's a man of intrigue and tuxedos and da 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 da. He doesn't own a tuxedo. Adjacent suit? I don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
A tuxedo adjacent. Oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's flirting with the concept of being a tuxedo, but it's not quite there. I got it. And that's maybe a smoking jacket.
Tony, I think you are like the easiest person to win over and to make unproductive. I think even if I was like speaking a language you didn't know and like running around not talking about Scrabble, you'd still you'd still love us.
Well, actually, Tony, I like your typo there. For that, I thank you, my fiend. I think you forgot an R.
But as I said, we're glad you're here. We're glad that there are over 4,000 of you here right now. That's super cool.
Oh, there are 4,000? Hi,
yeah.
everybody.
Robin says hi.
Hi, we love you all. We thank you for coming to our little show.
That. Okay, so Craig is getting low on time here finally. This is why it's good to have all that extra time that Evan hasn't had the luxury of, and you see him make a play like Ox, which was, a result of not having much time. Meanwhile, Craig can kind of try to concoct a way out of
I
this
think
game.
Whoever's said that about physics, that's a very, very good point, that having that S to stick on besides is probably going to be the stake through the heart of Evan.
It's going to give him great win chances. Also, welcome back, Aaron. That's physics. I'm not surprised you came back. We all know that nuclear...
Oh, yeah, wasn't he supposed to be at meetings all afternoon?
Nuclear
like, what
fusion.
happened?
Nuclear fusion can wait.
Excellent. Don't worry. Well, if the sky falls, we'll know who to blame.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can get you some results.
Also, we misinformed you. We're not very good at counting. The bag is actually empty.
Oh my God.
So we apologize for not being able to count.
Why is that 14? It's not 14.
Yeah, but I'm looking at Quackle right now, and there's...
So that's not just us. Somebody didn't remove some tiles. That's okay.
So
that's okay.
So for those of you who are actually quackling this at home, which I imagine some of you are, you know that Craig really has a lot of plays that win right now. And he basically just needs to make one of 12 or 13 plays that will win the game. Props if you can find the one that wins by the most, but the obvious WEES or EWES is 2 points off the optimal endgame here.
So we're going to have to decide who we're going to watch next. We've got 2 more games this afternoon. What's going on in TWL? Well, Nigel won, as you know, and he's at 20 wins and 6 losses plus 1851. And in second place is none other than Mr. Joel Sherman, who I'm sure would love to repeat. It's been many years. I was there when he won it. And he's at 18 and 8 plus 1,090. And the only other 18 and 8 is Joey Malik with a 407. Then Ori at 17 and a half and Alec at 16 and a half. So those are your top 5 right now. I'm not sure how John Chu is going to be doing the pairings, but I imagine Nigel will be on table 1. Of course he will be, because there's no... we're going to have to explain what Gibsonizing is, but hopefully not.
We've already explained it. We'll probably explain it 5 more times.
All right. So I don't know if he's ready to do 1, 2, 3, 4 yet. I'm absolutely quite sure he's not.
No,
oh, this
won't.
is interesting. So we'll see what that game is going to be, and then let's go into CSW, and we'll see what the possibilities are there.
Meanwhile, Craig has played WETA, leaving ISIT on his rack, which will play underneath GI or TITIS as his outplay. My guess is that that will be sufficient points to win the game. And yeah, as he puts down Hefe, it seems pretty clear that that'll do it, and Craig will narrowly win the game.
So he definitely should have played Hefe first and then held on to Max.
Yeah, it may well have a... Oh, he misses Is It, surprisingly, as he had it spelled out on his rack.
Where would he put it?
A GI, bottom right.
Oh, yeah.
So he loses out on a few points there, but does appear that it is enough to win the game.
So if Evan had played Hefe first, I'm going to assume that Craig would not have played Weitub. We would have to do the math and see what would add up.
Yeah, it would have been close, but I think if he plays Hefe first, then he's forced to address Max and EX. I think the question is really, Evan's now stuck with a C and a V, and that could have been a problem. So my guess is Craig still pulls it out, but it's much closer than the 21 points that it actually was, 380 to 359.
Now, Craig could have gotten more points also. Never mind missing Is It, but He could have gotten more points by not playing Weta. He could have played Wheeze or AWES, and besides, he would have gotten more points. But he wouldn't go out in 2, and when you have an opponent who has a lot of heavy tiles that can score, you want to get out in 2 and stick him with those tiles, which is exactly what he did.
Yeah.
So he might have sacrificed a few points, but he secured the win, as Chris Crease says. Secure the win, Carla!
Well, thank you, Jesse. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you, Ray Allen. And thanks for showing up. We'll be back tomorrow. Of course, we have a couple more games left today if you can hang around.
Thanks, Ray Allen. That was really nice of you to say that. That's exactly what we're trying to do. Fun and insightful. That will be my new t-shirt. I'm fun and insightful.
Yeah. Jesse and Tony, I can hook you guys up with digits. Don't worry. The winner was Craig Beevers, 380 to 359 after his outplay of titties and getting tiles off of Evan's rack.
Too bad we can't do any chewing through wood puns, because he's a beaver.
But nice.
Evan is not. I'm going to tell you this Evan's story in terms of how he's been winning and losing. Hold on. I can see he's not happy. It was going so well. This is really a disaster, you know, when you're doing so well, and you're getting towards the end of the tournament, and all of a sudden you just start not winning. And it's really, really difficult when you've been in first place. So I think this is going to take him out of first. If either Jason won, if Jason won. Otherwise if Jason won, yes, he will get out of first place. If Evans won, he can't supersede him because Evan has too high a cum spread. And Craig now goes to 18, and Evan was already at 19. And today, let's see how, you know what, he hasn't done so badly. He won quite a few games. He's 2-2 today, so not as bad as I thought, and he had won the 3 before that, so all right. Oh, now he's won and lost another one. Okay. He just had played Stefan Rao the round before and won 431 to 414. So a very close game after losing 2 in a row. So he was probably feeling pretty hairy. What are we going to be doing now?
So I think in a couple minutes we're going to bring Craig down to talk a bit about the game.
Okay.
Go through a couple of plays with him. It would be cool if we could get both of them down because it was really a great game. I'll see if we can get them both down here to chat because I think there was a really interesting end game towards the end there and just kind of see
I
how
think
they're
it's
both
always
doing.
great to get both of them.
Yeah,
actually.
it's always really fun to kind of rehash it afterwards.
What would be really great is if we could actually keep the board up. I don't know if Sarah's there. Do you still have the board up, Sarah? We're going to have to teach her to do that because when we interview these people, it would be good to be able to refer to the board. What's that?
We don't need to say that on the stream. We're still learning, but I will bring the board up on my computer.
Okay, it's not a big deal. If anybody has any questions for any of the players, you know, you haven't been participating in the talk in between the rounds, but you certainly, if you have any questions, any strategy questions, this is a fantastic time. You know, ask them, and we'll have an opportunity to ask the players what their thinking was. It's a great opportunity for you guys to learn. So you can see the board now, the leaderboard, what's going on with TWL. And it's hard to read through that floating thing, but Joe Edley's all the way up to 8th. He was practically in last place after the first day.
He often does that. He'll sneak back in, but yeah, he started out. He was in last place after 3 rounds, I think.
Oh yeah,
three-time national champion.
Mac Miller having a bit of a hard time, not doing as well as we would have anticipated.
Yeah, kind of a surprise. I know he had really high hopes after getting 2nd last year and 3rd the year before. Still waiting on a score from Stefan and Jason Keller.
You know, but frankly, he's doing it just right. I mean, I think even doing that well that quickly is too fast.
Yeah.
Oh, great, you guys are both here.
Yeah. So we have Evan and Craig are here. We're going to go through the game with them a little bit.
Whose turn is it to do the interview?
Would you like to do it, or should I do it?
I don't care.
Don't make me make decisions. Now you get to see
Whose turn is it?
how
Robin's
cool.
staying.
Robin is staying. That's great.
Yay!
I will be back in a couple minutes.
The Red Wings shirt. You going to switch to a Habs shirt? So guys, put on your headphones. Let's have a chit chat.
When do I land the helicopter?
Yeah, that's exactly what you were when you go on these helicopters. That's absolutely true. So I'm going to just put the game up so we can actually look at it. Who wants to go first? How was the game? Any thoughts?
I'm just. It took me 5 minutes just to get used to the thing in front of me and where to position my thing because I wasn't used to playing on that.
You know,